clip you just saw was me in our new project, a 2006 Ford F-150 crew cab. Bad news is the transmission has no reverse. The exhaust manifold is split. Finally got all the bolts out. I'd rather just spend the $300 than spending however much time it's gonna take to rebuild this trans. I gotta be on top of the truck. I gotta go under the truck, keep going back and forth, back and forth. Now, as you can see, this oil is black. It's like black. It's like raw petroleum. It's real black.
Oh, what a dangerous man, he got his mind right. Okay with being famous, but he can't stand the limelight. Knows enough language to reach the heinous and tainted mind, but when he open wide, they like, God, who he sound like?
Yo, it's Stack612. It's been a while since the last F-150 video, so this is going to be a little update. A lot has happened since the last time we saw this truck. So here's what happened. The last time you saw it, we put the engine back in and we got it running. So what happened? You might have been able to tell in the video, but when we got the truck running, the engine was shaking. And for a little bit of context, the engine was shaking before we took the engine out to replace the exhaust manifold and the check engine light was on. The reason I didn't look into that was because I was just sure that the check engine light and the engine shaking had to do with that exhaust that was leaking. Turns out that's not all it was. So when we put the engine back in, we got it running, the engine was still shaking. The check engine light came on. I scanned the codes P0345, P0349. You know, that means the PCM isn't getting signal from the cam phaser. Mind you, in the first video, I said the previous owner told me that everything was done on this truck, timing chain, cam phasers, oil pump, all that stuff. So I was like, man, he must have been lying to me. That's the only explanation, really. It turns out the last guy just didn't do the work right. Just wasn't done right. So I had to take the valve covers in front engine cover off. When I took everything off, I saw the guy told me the truth. Everything he said was done was done. However, it just wasn't done right. There are these fins on the cam phaser that the sensor, the actual cam phaser sensor, reads that. It's like a little magnet thing, and it shows how it's turning. So the cam phasers were bent. They were bent back, and it's a very common issue with the packaging or whatever it is. I don't know why. These were OEM Ford Motor Company cam phasers that were on this truck. And I don't know what it is, if it's the packaging or whatever, but sometimes the fins are bent, so you gotta check them. These fins on the truck, the fins were bent, so the guy put them on, put the truck back together, and just left it like that. The check engine light must have been on the entire time right after the truck was put back together. I just bent the cam phaser fins forward. I also threw on a new timing chain just in case it slipped a tooth and I didn't know, but the chain was tight. Everything was tight. Put the engine back together. I did a whole bunch of other things that are just, it's too much to mention. It's going to be, the video is going to be too long if I try to recall everything I did. Long story short, put the engine back together, ran like a champ. I'm getting ready to throw this engine back together. Here are the valve covers. I took them to the car wash yesterday. Used the pressure washer there to get them all cleaned up. Remember, they were all caked up with dirt before. Now, I got them pretty much as clean as they're going to get. Same thing with this one. I had to put some JB Weld here. There was a big hole here and one on the back there from corrosion. Same thing with the front timing cover. The back was all caked up before, but after spraying it down, it's looking pretty good. Got the front main seal banged in, and yeah, this bearing shot. Yeah. I'm not gonna replace them though unless it's like not drivable. This is the old one, completely toast. Doesn't even turn or nothing. This VCT solenoid, I gotta go to the junkyard for this because it fell apart and I can't put it back together. And as far as the engine goes, ready to go back together. It's all timed and everything. The timing is definitely on point. So at least for my peace of mind, I know the timing's right. So now as far as the valve train goes, most of the sludge buildup was on the valve covers themselves and not really in the valve train down here, which is a good thing because I'm not trying to put any solvent, any sort of degreaser into here. I don't want to knock anything loose and get it stuck down in the oil galley. I'm just going to leave it as it is. All I did was get in with the air compressor and try and blow out as much of that crud that was loose. I don't want to do anything like putting any degreaser in there because if a clump gets off and I'm not able to get it out and it makes its way into an oil passage, you know, it's going to be a bad day. Long story short, put the engine back together, ran like a champ. I mean, I've actually been daily driving it. I'm in the truck right now. I've actually been daily driving this truck for the past 2 days or so. Put about 100 miles on it. It's good. We're going to be changing the oil again. You guys saw how the old oil looked like and how the inside of the engine looked like in the valve covers. We need to change the oil again. So I'm not going to lie, you guys. I was kind of freaking out when we took the valve covers off and we saw how much crud was in the valve covers and what was in there, what was in the engine. There actually wasn't that, the crud in the engine wasn't that bad. It was the carbon buildup wasn't that bad, really. We cleaned out the valve covers. The majority of the carbon buildup was up on the valve covers, so we also cleaned up the crankcase vent and put some JB weld around it so the crankcase is venting back into the intake like it's supposed to. When you see that much carbon buildup, it's usually one of three things. As a mechanic, the story is the customer brings the car in the shop, telling them and telling us something like the engine is shaking or it's not running right, something like that. You pop off the valve cover and there's all that carbon buildup. Usually you ask them when was the last time you changed the oil. They usually shrug their shoulders and yeah. We all know what that means, You haven't changed the oil since you bought the car. The other scenario is usually someone's using conventional oil. With conventional oil, it doesn't have that detergent and it builds up. And then the last scenario is usually the crankcase vent is blocked. You have to clear out the crankcase vent and, it starts breathing as it's supposed to. On this truck, it was just the owner negligence. Didn't change the oil. I'm pretty sure. Didn't change the filter. The work wasn't done right. The cam phases were bent and he didn't check that. So I got everything back together and the truck runs mint. But anyway, that's it for the video. I'm grinding. I hope you all are doing the same. You all stay strong, stay healthy, stay inspired. I'm out. God bless.